Welcome to the second episode of Future Role Model, a podcast that praises the unconventional and redefines what it means to actually be a role model. I am Natasha Pearl Hansen, and we are in the comedy pop-up studios. Did I say that wrong? Pop-up comedy studios.
No, comedy pop-up.
I did. Okay, I said it right. Comedy pop-up studios. I never know if my brain is working the right direction. Comedy pop-up studios with a ton of amazing podcast hosts. So definitely become a fan and follower of the network because everybody here is awesome and super funny and actually good people.
Good people.
Today I'm here with Orlando Leyba and I'm so excited.
How are you, Natasha?
I'm good, man, and I'm loving your
sister.
man bun.
My sister.
This guy's the only guy that can pull off a man bun because he's got the right type of hair for it.
I have the right type of hair and the age, like, meaning I'm not young, like I'm in that in-between world. So it's awesome that I have this hair at my age.
You've got like sparkly grays coming in, and it just
beautiful.
it looks cool.
No, but I've had the gray since like 5th grade.
What?
Yeah. It runs in my family.
Oh, that's so cool.
You ever seen those women that have like just the one streak? They look like a skunk.
I have that coming in.
Yeah,
I have
beautiful.
one streak of white hair coming in, and I'm not dyeing it because I think it's so cool. If I part my hair on one side, it's just like this silver line.
Yeah.
So, and I'm like, I'm going to be one of those dope old women that has.
My mom has a full head of white hair. My grandfather passed away. God rest his soul. He looked like a little Q-tip when he passed away. So it was like, it runs in the family. But I also have like family members that have like patches. Like it'll be like just one patch of gray hair on their head.
Cool.
You know?
I could be your family.
Yeah,
I have
probably.
my gray patch.
We all are family in some ways.
I know, technically. I mean, we all humans out here.
We are.
Lando, he goes by Lando, by the way.
Yeah.
Can you tell everybody your social media now in case they don't listen to the whole thing, if they dare?
Social media at Hey Lando. That's it.
It's easy. And would you tell everybody kind of what you're up to? Lando is an amazing comedian, by the way. Yeah. He's killing the game right now. Hysterical. You're also just one of my favorite people, and we've known each other for a really long time.
Yeah, we met at a festival.
But we don't get to hang out enough.
Because you're working and I'm working.
Yeah, we busy-ass people.
Yeah. Not busy-ass people. It's like you're one of those people that I like in the sense of your work ethic. You follow the same kind of work ethic that I do. My work ethic is keep your head down, work, pick your head up in 10 years. Let's see where you're at.
Yeah, I agree. And also just not get into the game of the bullshit of like gossiping or caring what other people do. Like I think everybody's friends, and then all of a sudden I'll be out to lunch with somebody and I find out 2 people aren't talking and I'm like, oh, well, why? Like none of it makes sense to me because I'm just so lost in my own stuff. Yeah. So, yeah.
I'm the same way, pretty much. 100%. Like, I tell a lot of the people, and this always makes me sound weird, where in stand-up and whatnot, I tell them, you're not my competition.
Right.
You're not. And they kind of, first they look at me sideways and like, oh, what, you're like better than me? No. I'm not better than you.
We're just different.
You're not better than me. We're on different lanes. We're going to the same destination, which is our own personal success. Your success is not my success.
Right.
That's why you can get here tomorrow and get off the Greyhound bus and become a star by the end of your first month in Hollywood. Meanwhile, I've been here 3 years and I am genuinely happy for you. I'm like, it was for you. That was your lane. You had to come to that struggle. You had to get off that Greyhound. Not me. I came business class from Miami, Florida. I was good on an airplane. I got a meal on the way here. You were on the bus next to some sweaty dude.
Some people lived in their car.
Some people lived in their car.
I have a lot of friends who were like trainers when they first moved out here, and they got that job because they were like, okay, I can shower at the gym. I can sleep in my car, and then they always looked fresh. I didn't ever know.
Never knew. Never knew. I think we know some of the same people that lived in a van. Yes. I had one dude that lived in a van, looked sharp. That beard of his was always on point. Nice, taped up, always clean, smell good. I'm really sensitive to smells. And this dude once, he spilled the beans. He was like, dude, I live in my van and I have a gym membership, LA Fitness. $39.99 or $29.99 a month. I go in every day. I work out. I use the gym, shower.
It's brilliant. It actually is really brilliant. It's like $30 a month rent.
Brilliant. If I would have knew, I wish I would have known. But like, see, I'm a little bit like, I come from showering out of buckets in Dominican Republic because I'm originally from there. So I come from like poverty that I didn't know was poverty. It was just my childhood.
Right.
You know? So I come from that. So once I got running water, I'm like, you know, it's very hard to get me to even go camping. Like when you tell me go camping, I was like, nah, I'm good.
I know so many people like that. Like I used to think it would be, it's funny what you think when you're younger. Like obviously this podcast is a lot about what we used to be and what we thought we would be and what, you know, how none of those are really, none of it really matters. Yeah. When I was a kid growing up in Wisconsin, I thought it would be so cool. You know, I was kind of a tomboy. I had to like sports. I had to like camping. I had to like certain things in order for guys to consider me like a homie.
Yeah.
And I thought I liked camping. And then I moved to Los Angeles. And my second year here, I asked my boyfriend to come camping with me. And we went up to the San Bernardino Mountains.
Yeah.
It was the 3rd of July. And we camped one night at this, it was like a rustic ground with nothing, like no water, no showers or anything.
Nothing.
It was next to a canyon. And at night, we're sleeping there, laying on the hard ground. And there was like a pack of coyotes howling down the canyon. And I've never thought that my heart was going to come out of my body like it did.
Yeah.
Like I was terrified the entire night. And after that, I was like,
you were like, nah, I'm done.
We literally,
I outgrew the camping.
I hated it so much. And the next day we went ziplining and we ended up making friends with like the zipliner instructors and sleeping at one of their houses.
Exactly. that's like, man, and judge me if you want to, but hey, I've been through it. I've been through the beds that had bugs in them. I like actual bugs. I've been through comedy condos. I've been through it. I'm just at a place that like that whole moving to LA and just living in a van, I would have probably done that, but I would have had like one of those econo vans that was built to go like those tiny little motorhome type deals.
Yeah.
I don't know what to call
those like them. VW ones or something.
Yes, I would have had like something that at least had like
Astro trailers, those silver things. Yeah, those are really cool.
And just move it around in real good neighborhoods till they kick me out of it.
Right?
Yeah.
When I was in high school, my youth pastor, and he wasn't really like a youth pastor, he was like a troublemaker and would take us to like do pranks on people's houses all the time. He was basically the worst role model possible for a bunch of kids that were in a church, but he was awesome. So he was the greatest at the same time. He bought this tank from Switzerland and had it made street legal. So he'd had the tank wheel things removed and had like a bunch of little wheels put on it. And it was a full-on fucking tank from the Swiss army.
Yeah.
And he would drive me to school in it every day per my request. So I would get, for like 3 weeks, I came to school. I got dropped off at one of the high school dances in this thing. It was the coolest thing ever. Yeah. So I would equally live in something like that, but probably a tank.
Yeah. I'm too worried. I'm like, I'm that guy. I Yelp now. I 4-star reviews. If I go to Vegas,
earned that position.
I've earned that position, man.
And that's why I say in my age, I've gotten a little bit bougier than I would. Like I used to travel to New York and stuff all the time and want to sleep on people's couches. And now like I like to get hotels and I like to have like a place that feels nice.
Yeah.
Ish.
I have a wife that's like the logistic champion. So when we did humble bragging, but whatever, it's just life. When we went to Italy, we did 15 days in Italy and we went to Rome, Florence, Venice, Pisa, and we did everything by trains, which is awesome. And then she did all the Airbnbs, but it was all like nothing.
Ooh, I might need to meet your wife.
Yeah, because she knows how I am.
Yeah.
She knows.
Well, and we know how hard it is to actually continually make money. Yeah. So like, even though you want, like I love to travel, it's my favorite thing. So I have to infuse comedy with travel a lot, or try to. And if you're not getting travel paid for, obviously you have to pay out of pocket for it.
No, I really, just following you on social media is like, I really hope that like that Travel Channel or Discovery or someone comes knocking at your door soon because you totally embrace wherever you're at. And it's beautiful to see.
It's true. I mean, when I travel, I think that's why I've always had so much fun. Even if even when I went to Europe alone, like 8 or 9 years ago, it was just the mentality that you're just going to like get to know the people and focus on that. And then you always end up at the coolest places because you're with cool people that know know the territory. You know, I think if you go to a place and you stay at a really bougie hotel and you stay on a resort and you don't get to experience the place, then why are you there?
Yeah.
You know, that's always how
I've done resort things too, but that's just like really like, okay, we just need to decompress.
Yeah. Like if you go to Cabo, like that's why you go there.
Yeah, you go there. Or like in Dominican Republic, everybody goes to Punta Cana. So if you go there, that's where you're going because there's nothing else to do outside of the resorts and it's not safe. So like Dominican Republic, I recommend everybody go to Puerto Plata. That's actually where Christopher Columbus came in through. So it's like one of the oldest cities in Dominican Republic. So you can actually leave the resort and see some great history. And that's what I recommend. And it amazes me because you're talking about role models and stuff like that. And I remember you asked me, one of the questions you asked me was like, where did you see yourself?
Yeah.
When you were young, did you see yourself? And I didn't. Like I've gone to Italy now. I've gone. You didn't
ever expect those things to happen.
No, dude. Like it was like here was the absolutely, like when you talk about role model, here's the moment where I was absolutely not a role model in my life.
And these are my favorite stories, by the way. Yeah, so yes.
This is me. This was my general mind state was, hey man, I'm going to high school. I'm not learning anything. I'm just showing up to be social. And Miss Moore asked me, Orlando, why do you come to school? And I go, oh, to socialize. You know what I mean? Like, I tell jokes, hang out with my friends and whatnot, because then I'll be all alone. And she was shocked by the answer that I was so honest with her. And plus, it was funny because it was in front of the whole class. She tried to put me on blast, and then I turned it around on her. But really, at that time, I'm in 10th grade, and my plan was eventually I'm going to end up dropping out. I'm going to get some chick pregnant.
This is such a good plan.
Yeah, and then I'm going to work at my mom's factory, the same factory that my mom works at. I'm going to go work at that factory. I'll probably do loading and unloading in the warehouse part of the factory. And that was it. And I'll get myself a nice little like apartment in like Hialeah, which was all right. It's like, and that was the plan.
Which is a really great plan, honestly, because then you can only do better than that.
Yeah. That's
not a terrible life, but you can only do that or better if that's your goal. So it kind of works out.
But then other, role models came into my life. And role models, you got to keep an open mind because they show up from anywhere. Mm-hmm. And those role models were my friends, my close friends. It was like Moses Scott, Rudy, Sam, and they showed up. They were already in my life, but it's like, in high school, everybody goes into like a fifth gear or like into a fourth gear. Yeah. Like, oh, we're going to graduate. Oh, it's time to start writing our essays, applying for colleges and doing all that and universities and all that. And they started doing that. And I was just like, huh? And then I was just like, and then they were my role models at that time. So then I walked into Mr. Garcia's office, the counselor, and I sat down with him and he said, what's going on, Leyba? And then I said, nothing. Hey, I'm trying to figure out how I can graduate. And he laughed because he knew my story. Uh-huh. And he was like, you really want to know? I said, yeah, I might as well go on. Since I'm coming, might as well get a diploma out of this joint. Serious, truly ignorant level type of thinking for me. And he goes, Orlando, you're going to have to do this. Let's play it out. And he mapped it out for me. He pulled up he knew where I was. So basically my senior year, I was going to day school, afternoon school at another school. Like I would get out of school and then drive to another school and take 2 classes there. night school, drive back to my school and do night school, adult school.
Wow.
And then Saturday morning school at a local college.
So you finally got it together and were like,
I kicked it into to the point that when I graduated, whatnot, they got me a scholarship. Like the school got together and they were like, "Oh, we're gonna send you to."
That is so awesome.
I'm not gonna name the school, and I was like, "Nah." And they were like, "What do you mean?" I'm done.
You were like, I proved myself. I'm good.
Yeah, I just wanted to graduate. And then everybody went to college. And then I was just like, oh, maybe I just dumb. Just a dumb genius. Like I like to say, I have dumb genius moments where people are like, oh, that's genius that you thought of that. It is? Oh, okay.
Me and Chris talked about this last week too, because, college isn't for everybody. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, a scholarship, great. I mean, you should, but education isn't always just through college. You can read a lot of books. You can definitely educate yourself as an adult. I feel like I've learned so much in the past 5 years just by choice and by having pure interest in stuff than I did in college, because you don't retain information you don't care about. Mm-hmm. You don't like sit in biology class taking notes and like going home and caring about like frogs' insides. Yeah. It's not what you...
It wasn't for me. That wasn't the path. And then I just kept on evolving as a human, and then I went to college. I went to the community college in my town in Miami, Florida. Then I was like, okay, I don't like it. I became a security guard. Oh, I don't like this. This is dumb. I don't like doing this security guard stuff. And then I ended up being like a satellite engineer for CBS News. So I ended up driving the truck around. That had the satellite dish.
And this was before you got into comedy, right?
Yeah, this was all before I got into comedy. I met my wife, and then she started like when they say, oh, you got a better half. I truly have a better half. That she was just like, she was that settling energy that calmed me down and keep me from bouncing everywhere. And that was it, man. Then she's the one that pushed me into comedy. She was like, dude, you're like funny. Like, do this.
Yeah.
Like, just do it.
Were you driving the CBS van and you were like, I should be on the other side of, did that ever cross your mind? Like, I should be on the other side of the camera?
No, I was just like I want to say dumb smart guy. Just because I went around life and there's like a little song that plays in my head, and it is basically there's a lot of bells involved in that song. Ding, dilling, 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 dilling. That's the way it kind of is. Also, that's my theme song. Dilling, dilling, dilling. And then I just go through life, and then I have these clear moments. I was like, oh, I should do this. And then that's the way it works.
That's your theme song. Mine is always phone, wallet, keys, and then I don't leave the house without anything that I need.
Phone, wallet, keys.
So I saved myself before I leave the house.
Yeah. I don't lose anything. I just misplace it. That's my new one. I've been telling that. I just misplace it. It's there.
Can someone out there please just invent a sticker that like tracks things? There should be like, if there are spies, then there has to be stickers with like tracking devices inside of them. Because I would stick one in all of my debit cards, and my credit cards, and my phone, and my keys.
And they want you to put it on your phone. That's what they want.
Yeah, well, your phone already tracks everything you do. It's pretty crazy. Yeah. But I think the funny thing about you growing up where you did is like, when did you move to the States? How old were you?
Sorry, I was drinking water. I was 7 years old, about to turn 8.
Okay. Yeah, so you've been out here for a long time. These damn sirens. Before I came to the studio, I had to record a voiceover audition in my house. Yeah. And I had like an hour set out to do it. And I don't have a studio or anything set up, but I have the equipment. I have like what is the recording device that What is it? The Zoom. Yeah. I don't know what anything's called, but I just know how to turn it on and turn it off. Yeah. So I have a Zoom in like lavs. And I was recording it in my bedroom, and there were sirens going off like every 5 minutes. And I was like, what is happening in my neighborhood right now? It felt like a personal attack.
Do you record it? Because there's like good insight for people who are listening too. Do you record it like facing the closet?
Yeah, I actually face this weird corner of my room where my jewelry is, and above it is a antique I Love Lucy doll. Yeah. That's where I record.
Okay.
It's such a strange spot.
If you do it audio, if you do it facing your clothes, like if you just stand there and stuff like that.
Oh, it's like a sound booth?
Yeah, it deads the sound. You get like
that is so smart.
Yeah.
Oh my God, we're learning things.
We're learning
But yeah, the whole time I was sitting there, I was like, God, why does everybody have to be getting injured right now? Like, this is the worst. You're always so selfish when you're recording audio and sirens go by. You're like, this is terrible timing, but they're like saving somebody's life.
Yeah.
Like, shout out to ambulances and stuff, because my dad had a heart attack last month and he didn't die because of an ambulance. So,
it was
like,
good.
holler.
He's okay?
Yeah, he's okay. I mean, he's still being an idiot and eating potato chips every night.
Oh,
and drinking.
he got his appetite back?
Yeah. Oh,
like,
yeah. He was fine. Like, it happened. It happened out of the blue. I was on a flight back to LA and I got the notification about it, that it happened while I was on my flight. And I was like, shit, I got to get back on the plane and go back there. And they were like, no, he's already got the stent in and everything. And they put it in with like a needle hole. Yeah. He was back to work in 5 days. It's pretty fucking crazy. But, you know, Midwest dads, or just dads, I guess, from our dad's generation.
Yeah, this is men.
They're stubborn.
Men.
Like, he's like, I'm fine now. And he's still like drinks beer every night. And I'm like, oh, God.
No, me. I go to the hospital for any reason.
Yeah. I mean, you got insurance now. You're going to go.
I go to the hospital.
That's what they do in London. They have really good insurance and they just go. Like, they go all the time. Anyway, I was going to talk to you about growing up. Was it a shock for you when you moved to the States at first? Like, were you like, oh my God?
No, it was definitely like a big shock, because not only did I move to the States, I didn't have anybody my age around me. So it was just my mom. And then on top of it, at the same time I moved, my younger brother passed away. So
dang.
That's like that. I moved, my younger brother passes away.
Oh
like,
my God, I'm sorry.
You know, that was a long time ago. That was the plan that was designed for him. So anyway, then they put me in school and no one talks Spanish.
Yeah.
No one can teach me English.
Right.
So I spent months. They had to order ESL teacher, English for second language teacher. They had to like put in an order, and it's public school, so it's that program, that paperwork. So every day I would watch with the class Reading Rainbow. We would do the Pledge of Allegiance, Reading Rainbow, and then they would take me out of the class. So then I would go into the library with Miss Johnson, and then Miss Johnson, she didn't speak Spanish, so I just hung out in the library with her.
Just by yourself.
Yeah, but she watched The Price is Right every day. So
you would learn English from The Price is Right?
Yeah, because I come from a country where we're showering out of buckets.
That is so funny. So you knew how to say like,
$1.
Come on down.
I knew all that stuff. I thought everything cost $1 because that was like the big thing, right? So then I'm watching this stuff, and I just came from DR. I'm showering out of buckets, and there's people winning jacuzzis for $1. You get me? I was like, where is this? I'm like upset.
You were like, this is amazing.
As soon as I moved to LA, I went 3 times. 3 times I've been to The Price is Right. They never called me. I told them this story. These people don't believe me, man. So The Price is Right helped me how to speak English. And For This Old House with Bob, what was his name? For This Old House on PBS. I used to watch those shows.
PBS, and like, and Reading Rainbow, that was just my jam back in the day.
Yeah, look up in the sky.
I can go twice as high.
It's in a look. What? I used to watch that every day and just sit there, and all the other kids would just like look at me, and then I would go to recess. And I remember I came home, I cried the first day. I was just like, and then my mom was like, we don't cry. We just push. We just keep on
Good
pushing.
For your mom.
Yeah, she's about that life.
Yeah. So that's what's up.
So then it took me probably like the whole stint of it was great. Actually, it was a blessing because I came in and it was summer.
Mm-hmm.
So there wasn't, all the kids weren't in school. So they put me in summer school. So I was going through this during summer schools. By the time that summer school was over, I spoke English. I couldn't read or write, but I could already communicate with the other kids.
It's crazy how fast kids can do that. Yeah. Like, I wish I would have stuck with Spanish. I was fluent in Spanish 8 years ago, and I just don't remember it unless I'm drunk. And then I think I remember it because I have that drunk confidence.
No, it just comes to you. You know Forrest Shaw?
Yeah, kind of.
That's like my brother, And it was funny because he just said he just had the same. We had the same conversation where he went to Mexico. And he got pulled over by the cops. And as soon as he got pulled over by the cops, all the Spanish came back to him.
When the heat is on you,
he knew
know.
Right. He goes, dude, I didn't think I knew that much Spanish. Because he's a Miami guy, too. So he grew up around it.
Yeah.
And he goes, I didn't think I knew that much Spanish.
Yeah. Well, what I'm like still good at is recognizing, like I understand what other people are saying. I just don't have like responses.
Yeah.
So me and my friends were in Ensenada last year, and we all went to the same high school, and we all live on different parts of the coast now. And so we like drove over the border from San Diego and went to our friend's house, and we were Ubering everywhere. And between the three of us, we would like tell our Uber driver to talk slow, and then like one of us would recognize this word and one of us would recognize it. Like between the three of us, we could communicate like a round off.
Yeah.
Like
you were
one body. We were like one unit.
Yeah.
But it made me want to get back into Spanish, so I downloaded Duolingo.
Yeah.
And I've been doing that every day to just like up my game.
And then when you just embrace it, when you walk into a Spanish store, go in. Like whatever comes out, let it out.
Yeah.
You'll be all right.
I know so many people that speak so many languages, and to me that's the hottest thing ever.
Yeah. I got like right now I think I have French on my MacBook from
nice.
Rosetta Stone. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have dreams of like visiting the Eiffel Tower and stuff like that. Not dreams, goals. It's gonna get done.
You will do it.
But I would love to go and like be fluent, because that makes me feel a little bit safer.
I think the French of all people appreciate that more too. Like I think they're the country that's like, if you at least try to speak their language, they'll like respect you a lot more as an American.
Yeah. So, but like Spain is all good. I can get by there. Italy, all good too, because Italian, Spanish is right there. And in those countries, they all speak multiple languages wherever you go. So
I know, it's pretty crazy. So getting back to role models, like was there a time that you looked up to somebody and were shocked by something that they did and were like, oh shit, that's not a person that should have been a role model? Has there been anything of that nature in your life, or somebody that you shouldn't have looked up to and did?
Yeah, I had a friend. I'm not gonna name him by name, and he's still a friend. He's still a brother, to be honest with me. And it's not for a show, because I called him my brother. But I had a friend back in Miami who it was like I loved his work ethic and his money game. Like he knew how to stack. And
he was like a business guy.
He knew how to stack, and it was kind of like. He knew he taught me like how to lend money out. Yeah. And how to make deals with people when they ask you for a favor. And
he was like a hustler.
But he also taught me great rules on we can still stay friends. Natasha and Orlando stay friends. Natasha needs some money, so she's going to borrow it from Orlando. But they're friends first. So in order for our friendship to stay friendship, let's just set the ground.
Right.
Rules right away. Hey, I'm going to lend you this much.
Put some paper between it.
Yeah. We're real good friends. I'm not going to charge you interest. When are you paying me back? You don't have to pay me back tomorrow. You don't have to pay me. I just need to know the day that you're going to pay me back. The exact day. It could be 2 years from now. It could be 10 years from now. If you respect our friendship, the exact date. Yeah. He taught me that. And it was like, okay, I'm going to pay you on Friday. No, Friday, pay attention, Orlando, because I borrowed money from him, and he taught me this. Friday, you're going to get your check. Then you got to cash it. Then you're going to go meet with somebody and stuff like that. How about you make that Friday and turn it into Sunday? Sunday, it's a slow day. You can swing by the house, drop the money off, and we're good. Right. And then I was like, okay, Sunday I'll be there.
So he taught you like cool little logistical things about life.
Cool little logistical things.
Which I wish people taught you that shit in school. Like we just had a conversation about that with our taxes. And I was like, why don't people teach you like how to make better choices before you start making money? Like how to incorporate an LLC and like stuff.
Or little life things from another mentor / role model that I had. I learned the whole hustle of renting, of when you go somewhere, make sure you have the big chunk. If you can afford to have all the money with you, what you think your yearly rent, like when you're moving to LA, is the best way I can describe it. You're moving to LA, you come with a chunk of money, okay? So now, for example, I came to LA, my studio apartment in Hollywood on Western, on between Franklin and Hollywood on, on Gramercy. That was my first studio apartment.
Oh, so it was kind of a little bit up from here.
Yeah. So it was always by like the Celebrity Center and the old UCB.
Oh, yeah.
So I lived there. It was a big studio apartment. That studio apartment, when I got there, they wanted $950. I told the lady, I'll pay you $700. She goes, no, it's $950. I said, I'll pay you $700 and I'm going to pay you the whole year.
Ooh.
Right now, we can go to Bank of America.
Save a shit ton of money.
I'll give you a cashier's check for the whole year. We don't even need to see each other anymore. I'm actually handy. So if something breaks, I'll end up fixing it myself because I don't like people coming into my place.
Yeah.
And then she was just like, done.
That's dope.
You know?
That is so cool.
People don't teach you that. Certain dudes.
They don't teach you haggling skills.
Yeah.
Is that the word?
Or just planning.
Sometimes I make up words and I teach.
I really want to do something, especially for comics. I want to put out something, and I think I'm gonna work it through my Instagram or when I start a podcast again, where it's like there's certain things that you can do when you come to LA where you just get here and you can really hit the ground running.
Yeah.
Okay. Where where to move, what zip codes to look at.
Yeah.
That's very important for a lot of people. What zip codes to look at. If you have a job, if you're in anywhere in the country, there's a Whole Foods, get a job at Whole Foods. Try to get a job and work there for a couple of months and then ask for a transfer to LA. Like plan
ahead.
Plan your LA move already in advance. Why? Because Whole Foods is well known for like, hey, yeah, they'll give you the transfer. You'll end up working at another store. Especially in LA, they're very flexible. They let you go for auditions. They let you do whatever you want to do.
That's
Not
cool.
that you're probably a satellite engineer at CBS News. What I want, but at least you get here and you're making money.
Yeah.
Don't come here for the open mics if you're a stand-up.
Right. Oh, my God. I remember those days. I remember them open.
Yeah, go to New York. Go do that. If you want to do that, do that. You come here is because, okay, you're going to do a couple of sets. You're trying to get into the clubs, the Comedy Store, the Laugh Factory. And you do all that stuff, the improv. But, this town's more driven on the next level, which is the movies, the TV.
The places you can actually make money. Because stand-up, like contrary to what people believe, you're not going to make no millions on stand-up until you're already a big name.
Yeah, and there's certain guys that are doing that, but you could count them. You have to be able to tour
and do theaters, and that's how you do it.
You could count them. I got friends who go out. I got friends that go out and they make the typical stuff like the $100 a show, and they go out for the weekend and they got to sell T-shirts. I'm that guy that goes out and
you do merch.
I got to do merch because the merch pays for the plane ticket.
Mm-hmm.
Because at the club, since the 80s, a middle act is still making only $100.
Yeah. The feature acts don't get paid a lot.
Then that's why when you're a headliner, new headliners don't know this. Few of the new ones like Chris D'Elia, shout out to the homie Chris D'Elia. When I would go on the road with him, the few times that I would go, he would give me a little something. Brad Garrett, old school vet. He's like, here's a little scratch. Paul Rodriguez, old school vet. Here's a little scratch. Or let's all go out for a steak dinner, like old school, like at a real fancy steak restaurant.
Yeah.
And you would go out for a nice steak meal. That's stuff that some of the new headliners go. Sebastian Maniscalco, another bad boy out there. So,
he's so cool.
Here's a little.
He's so cool. And I worked with Jeselnik when he was here at the Ontario Improv a couple months ago, and he took care of like everything for me in the feature as well. And yeah, I mean, it's just cool to see people give back because they know that everybody's been there before. Yeah. So at least it's nice when people remember where they've been.
Sebastian Maniscalco, Chris D'Elia, Michael Yo. Those three guys, me and my wife, we lived long distance for 2.5 years.
You know Michael Yo. I know his wife.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Claire. That's my sister.
She's a doll,
right
man.
Yeah. And they got little
funny.
Oliver now.
Mm-hmm. Cute little nugget.
So those guys, just off the top naming them, they knew that I was long distance with my wife. So she stayed in Miami. I moved over here by myself to crack into the business. They would walk up to me when they would see me at like the comedy store and whatnot, and they say, "Hey man, you want to go visit your wife?" I'll be like, "Yeah," because they were going to South Florida or they were going to Florida, and they were like, come with me. They look out for me.
Oh, that's
way.
dope.
But Sebastian Maniscalco would do stuff like, hey, he would have his team make sure that I stayed at the same exact accommodations as he got.
That's so
as
cool.
A headliner. So if he got a suite at the Hard Rock, I would get a suite at the Hard Rock. This in Fort Lauderdale, the Hard Rock casino up there. He made sure that I was also taken care of the same way he was. Like, these are the dudes that are, these are the role models.
Yeah.
My stand-up role model.
Well, it's good people. Like, I feel like the mentality is shifting, which is really great because I've always been a huge advocate for really good people.
Yeah.
And I've, like, most of my friendships I've had for, like, 25 years, or like when I have a friend, I keep them, you know, like if I choose to have a friend, like they are my friend now forever. Yeah. Until, like, unless something fucked up happens, but that happens sometimes.
But it hardly happens anymore because now we know how to pick. We know how to pick them. Yeah. People tell you who they are.
People have a voice, and the people talk about the people that aren't good to other people, and then, you know, and then the word gets out, and eventually something will happen, and they'll get found out, and then holler at all the
people change. Like, and who you think was a mentor wasn't a mentor. You know what I'm saying? Who you think was a role model wasn't a role model. Back to the story of the guy that taught me how to deal with people and, hey man, I need to crash on your couch. Yeah, you could crash on my couch. How long do you need to crash? Oh, just a couple of days. No, I need an exact date. Hey man, I need to borrow some money.
So you don't get taken advantage of.
Yeah, that guy, the guy, hey man, I need to borrow some money. How much do you want? What type of money? If depending on who you were, it was whether it was with interest or not. And then when are you paying me back? That guy who taught me all that also, you know, here's when he wasn't a mentor, when he got put in handcuffs because he kidnapped somebody and tortured them.
Oh my God.
This is like real deal. Like,
holy
real deal.
Crap.
Like, yo, you did that, yo, like, yo.
What?
You know my mom and stuff like that. And he goes, yeah, man, but that's, you would never fall into that situation.
Did he do that because they owed him money?
Yeah.
Ah, that's my scary, like, that's why I never borrow money from anyone ever.
And, you know, in his defense, they played around with him. They thought that he wasn't, because he was very low-key, very, you know, he's very friendly. Everybody know. He just has that flip side to him. He has that switch. Hey, this is my business. And then I can't go to the cops for my business.
Oh, man, that's so freaky.
You know, and then I was just like, oh, okay, I think, like, my role model days with you are
done. Yeah. But that's okay. There's seasons for that.
Yeah.
I worked for the mob when I lived in Chicago, when I first moved to Chicago, and I did not know. But that was always my biggest fear. After I found out, I was like, okay, I have to be really careful who I tell, like, what, because basically the place that I worked at isn't around anymore, but it was a bar.
Yeah.
And you know, like what I was saying before we started the podcast, there's you can tell certain places that are kind of being sketchy with their taxes and the way that they operate as a business. So this bar ran, like, they would just have like one bottle of Bombay Sapphire and then one bottle of some like weird liqueur and like just kind of an array of strange liquors that you couldn't really make anything out of. And they didn't ever have like a delivery guy. Like, if they needed to pick up something, they would go to a store and buy it. And then, like, they, at the end of a shift, if I didn't really make any money, which was often because it was like a really tiny place, like the guys, they would just hand me like $200 bills, and I knew it was like hush money. After I figured out what was going on, I was like, oh, these guys are paid to keep me quiet. But I didn't realize they were, like, one of the guys owned a garbage company and one of the guys owned a meat company. And I didn't realize, because I was 21 years old, that those are very obvious like mob companies. But these guys were really awesome, and they took me and my friend Marla. They just took us out to dinner all the time, and like we both worked there, and we were like, we'll just shut our mouths and take their money. That's totally fine.
I used to drive an old man around in Miami, and then it was
for fun or for a job.
No, it was like a job. Okay, so I worked at one of my many jobs. I also worked at a cigar company that they had fields in Nicaragua. So this Jewish family group
Yes.
own this cigar company. This little old man who lives in Miami Beach calls into the cigar company. I talk to him, and then he talks to my boss. I'm not going to say names of my bosses and them, but I can say this little old man's name, right?
Yeah.
So then my boss goes, hey, I need you to go and pick up Milo. Mm-hmm. I go, okay, give me the address. I go pick him up. When I get there, I have my little car, so like a Toyota Corolla. He goes, no. Little old man comes out, hunched over. He goes, no, park that. We go in my car. And I go, okay. We go. He has an old school Range Rover detail. Looked like it just came out of the dealership, but it's old.
Yeah.
I put him in there. He goes, wait, I need to go over the bridge. I'm only allowed to drive in Miami Beach. I can't drive over the bridge. So over the bridge means we're going into the city. We're going into Miami. We go into Miami. We cut into the route. We go to this warehouse. This guy has plasma TVs in this warehouse. Plasmas just came out. These flat screens.
They were expensive as hell then, too.
Super expensive. Flat screens just hit the market, and he buys 4 off the rip. Bam. Gives him the money, pulls out a wad of cash, and just hands him cash and everything. This is a legit business where I'm at. Mm-hmm. We load him up. We drive the 4 back to his house. I offload him there. He goes, thank you. Boom. Gives me $200, like you said. I go home. Well, that was fun. Mm-hmm. Calls back the next day. Hey, Milo. Hey, Orlando. How are you? Let me talk to him. He talks to my boss. My boss says, hey, Milo likes you. He needs to go back into the city. And I go, all right. I pick up Milo.
Cool, yeah.
One day they get into an argument, blah, blah, blah. They start arguing, blah, blah. They're like full-blown argument. Him and then another old Jewish guy. I can't say his name, right? These two Milo's one old Jewish guy, and then this other guy's the other Jewish guy. They start yelling. Then one of the old Jewish guy that cannot be named yells at Milo, I still haven't forgave you for that time you took my family on a family vacation to Europe just so you could steal those diamonds. Like, that was the quote. And I'm like, what? What?
It's so bizarre when you hear people talking like that, too.
Yeah.
Like, you're you just have diamonds laying around?
And I'm like this. And by this time, I've been to Milo's house. So Milo, he lives in Miami Beach, own private office in his house, and books, and he's been everywhere in the world. His wife is still alive, his kids, and everything. He's also been to jail in like Caribbean islands and stuff like that. Oh,
that's the scary jail too.
No, he told me he went to a jail. He told me a story once. He went to a jail that the jail was so poor that they would let him go home. They would let everybody go home for lunch. But it was a small island.
I wonder if it was like in St. Croix, because I was just there, and I feel like the jails in like those places.
I think they did a movie on the jail called Papagio or something like that. I don't know.
That's so funny.
He just told me that they would let everybody go home under the understanding that if you didn't come back after lunch, if they had to go and get you, they were going to murder you. Oh. Like the guards were going to murder you. And there was no way. You couldn't get off the island. You get me? It was a mission. You know, the same people, the same guard at the prison, at the jail, also his brother was the guard at the port. You know, so it wasn't like you were getting off the island. Anyway, fast forward. So then this whole thing happens. You took my family and they stole the diamond. Oh, okay. And then I look at my boss, because the two old guys are arguing. I go, hey man, what's the? He goes, oh, Milo hasn't told you who he is yet? And then I go, no. And then he goes, that's Milo Bell. I go, yeah? And he goes, yeah, that's Maya Lansky's right hand in Cuba. He's the one that actually ran the casinos. Him and Maya Lansky were running together since they were kids.
Holy cow.
And
that's like, crazy.
Oh, okay. And then I just kept on driving Milo around. I didn't care. Like,
why not? I mean, whatever.
His son-in-law was like the #1 attorney on Miami Beach. It was like
good people to know in case somebody fucks with you. Yeah. You got somebody to call.
He took me to like a Jewish party one time, And I just showed up, and I'm still very rough around the edges. So it was cold. It actually got cold in Miami. So I pulled out. Miami, when it gets cold, you pull out all your winter clothes because that's your only shot to wear them for that 1 week. I wore this long leather coat. I looked like Carlito's Way, brother, like straight up. And he takes me to this holiday party, and I just post up. No one's coming to talk to me and everything. And sure enough, then one guy got brave, and he was like, "Hey, man, how is it to be his bodyguard? Like, how did you get into being his bodyguard? I'm sure so many." I go, "What?" And he goes, "Milo, you're Milo's bodyguard, right?" And I was like, yeah, I guess so. And then that was it. But it's because he has that aura around him that people and it was just that Milo didn't want to drive at night because he couldn't see. So he asked me to bring him to this party, and that's why I was at the party with him.
That's awesome.
So he was also a mentor, man. Also a mentor and whatnot. Go ahead. Let's ask one more question. How many?
Yeah, for sure. No, I mean,
don't want to run the podcast late.
No, I know.
We're at 45 minutes.
We're at 45 minutes.
Paul is putting out. There's a guy named Paul in the background. He pulls out.
No, I mean, it's just fun to have these conversations about, like, you know.
Let's just say something about Paul. Like, he could have whispered it, but he writes it in a sticky note. He writes it like
on a cue card.
Yeah. You have 35 minutes.
I like Post-its, by the way. I have Post-its all over I look like a serial killer on my desk. It's just like Post-its and like pieces of paper. That's how I keep my brain organized. It's a weird thing. No, I mean, we don't have any necessary questions we have to answer. I just like talking about the fact that, you know, you're a role model now to a lot of people because you work in comedy and you're successful and you do really well, and you just did HBO and like, you know, just all this cool stuff has happened for you. But if you'd have looked at yourself when you were a kid and when you were talking about being in high school and not going to college, like, you know, then you wouldn't expect yourself to be a role model. But I feel like the term role model is changing. Like, you don't have to be perfect. Like, I love working in comedy for the fact that we can be super imperfect and talk about it. Yeah.
I look, you know, and I know a lot of people are fans of this guy, but you know who's dope about the way he's a role model? Like The Rock.
Yeah,
Dwayne Johnson.
He is pretty awesome.
Yeah, the fact that he, even on social media, he curses, but it's just him being natural. Mm-hmm. The way he plays pranks with his guests, but the fact that he also shows you, yo, it's 4 a.m. I'm getting this AM cardio in. Yeah, and it's like, not that if you're a workout, not that you're gonna work out and do all that. I'm not that guy. I'm not the 4 a.m. But you can inspire and be a role model. Just make the right choices and whatnot. Yeah. Like my nieces and nephews, I have no kids, so my nieces and nephews are looking at me like, "Oh, you mean we can move?
Yeah.
You mean we can leave? Like we can just uproot and go and live in L.A.? Or
that's one of my favorite jokes that Beth Stelling used to tell. She used to talk about how she lived in Ohio, and like people don't realize when you live in Ohio, you can pack up your things and leave. Yeah. And like it was my favorite joke because it's so true. And I know so many people from Wisconsin that just stay, and you're like, hey, you can just not stay.
You can just not stay. But it comes from that whole thing, being that little kid that came from the Dominican Republic, got uprooted, and then lived in Miami, and I lived in New York, and I lived in Puerto Rico. So it was like that kid is like, oh, you can leave?
Yeah.
You know, this last time was hard.
Yeah.
Because comfort is very hard. And when I left Miami to come over here and crack into the business, I had a home. Mm-hmm. I had a front yard, backyard. I had my dogs. I had really comfortable furniture.
Yeah, because you can afford a lot more in Florida. Yeah. We have a lot of friends that have moved from California to Florida because you have still like the ocean and the beaches. And
ocean, beaches.
You can afford a lot more.
Yeah, I'm talking grown people shit, no state income tax.
Yeah.
You know, so they're not double dipping the chip.
That's why everybody retires there. Yeah. When I was just in St. Croix like 2 weeks ago, going from the both coming into St. Croix and coming back from St. Croix, I stopped in Puerto Rico. Yeah. And in the Puerto Rico airport was literally like 15 to 20 old people in wheelchairs being taken by the airport people to get on the plane. Like it was in the next stop was in Florida. Yeah. I'm like, all these old retired people are just commuting between Florida and Puerto Rico all the time. It just seemed really normal for them. They were like lined up like 20 people to get on the plane.
Or maybe they were just getting them out because they're still getting the country back on.
Maybe.
Turning on the lights.
It could be that too. Yeah. Puerto Rico was crazy flying over because it was just like 50% blue roofs at least. Like, it's a mess.
Yeah.
It's a mess out there.
Yeah.
So shout out to Puerto Rico, and I hope people are helping that have money to help and resources, because they still need it. They still need it. Even in St. Croix, they're still like struggling out there too. Yeah. So,
but you like all those islands, huh?
I do.
Yeah. St. Thomas was beautiful.
St. Thomas is where I met my ex.
So you're not going back there?
No, I mean, no. I've been back to St. Thomas, but I like St. Croix better just because I have a lot of friends there now. And, you know, every time we go, we just do like off-roading and just really cool, you know, cool local stuff. And it's fun to be in a place where I love being able to retreat to a place where it's not like LA, where nobody asks you what you do or cares the entire time you're there. Yeah. You just sit down and have a beer with somebody, and they might be like 70 years old, and they just have a boat, and you have like the coolest life conversation, and then you don't see them again. And those interactions are really cool to me. Yeah. You know? So in closing, Lando, where can we see you next? Because this is going to come out on Tuesday. So Tuesday. Today's Friday, guys. So
no, just the biggest thing you can do if you like my message, if you like, is just follow me at Hey Lando, and the same thing for you. Follow you, and those listeners, man, I just had a conversation with people, and they say it's really important that our social medias are important. So when you're following all of us, it's like, always remember, like, if we put up a video, don't just watch the video, hit like or tag a friend
comment on it.
Hey, Martin, you should see this guy, and just tag. These are all like just algorithms and numbers that industry's watching.
They become fans that come out to shows. Like, I travel a lot, and people come out. Yeah, you know, it's cool.
Yeah, and we're putting out, it's our content, and it's like, oh man,
getting to know us.
I feel so awkward talking about this sort of stuff, because I just come from that world of just be funny.
Yeah.
Just be funny. And like now it's being requested of us that like, hey man, your social media numbers need to be up. And then I'm like, yeah, but it's so easy to get them up if you just put me in a show, right? And put my handle. The next day,
help me out, bro.
Yeah. The next day, if you put me on a TV show, no, we really like you, but your social media numbers doesn't, you know, and that math doesn't. I'm going down the road I shouldn't go. But in reality, the math doesn't add up. When they see this guy being followed, or this person being followed by 300,000 people, and that doesn't really translate in a club, or the people that are going to go see you in a movie, or the people. Obviously, yes.
Right.
When it's The Rock.
Some of it does. It depends.
When it's Kevin Hart. When it's Gwyneth Paltrow, it translates.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But legit, if Brad Pitt puts out a movie, people are gonna go see that movie.
And he doesn't even need to be on Instagram. God bless him. No, I know. Like, all the A-list, like, so many A-listers aren't on Instagram. Oh, like old school.
Yeah. The people that come out to see another good friend, and I love this guy, because this is one of the guys that, when I got to LA, also one of the many guys who looked out for me, I just got to LA and I get invited to his house, and he has a beautiful home, and it made me realize, wow, this is really tangible. It's Jim Jeffries. His numbers of followers, and he's up there with the followers, does not translate to the real number of people who are coming out to see this man. Like, the enormous amount of people that come to see.
He sells things out like crazy.
So in closing, yes, follow me at Hey Lando. Follow Natasha at...
Follow me at NPH Comedy. And also, if you're enjoying the podcast and the future guests that we will have on Future Role Model, subscribe to the podcast, follow it, comment on it, leave a review. Happy to have any suggestions, feedback, comments from people, and that's what this is all about. You know, we have family out here.
We are family.
And I'm at NPH Comedy. The podcast is at Future Role Model. And
the network
is at Comedy Pop-Up.
Comedy Pop-Up. At Comedy Pop-Up
Studios.
At Future Role Model.
At CPU Podcast.
At CPU Podcast.
As CPU Podcast. That was Paul
also
in
comedy,
the background.
But also Comedy Pop-Up. I tag all this in my profile, so you'll see all these tags when this comes out. And yeah, just keep following the entire network. It's full of amazing, like Candace, one of my favorite people on the planet, Jackie. Like, I just love everybody that is involved. And we're just all trying to, you know, be cool, be good people, and keep future role modeling out here. So stay tuned, and we'll see you next time.